Malaysia is a really unique country when it comes to, language, because we have multiple races, multiple cultures, and many languages. And when it comes to cases where people speak many different languages, there is this one phenomenon that will happen in such a country or such a situation, and we call it code switching and code mixing. Basically, you speak one language and then suddenly you just add in one word from another language. For example, jom tengok movie tu. So, you have a perfectly nice sentence in Bahasa Melayu, then suddenly you just put in the word movie from English. Because when you think about it, jom tengok wayang, it sounds okay, but it sounds a little bit weird. Or jom ke panggung wayang, it can sound a little bit too formal. Now, there are many different reasons why people do code switching and code mixing. One of them is because sometimes it's just easier to explain certain things in, a certain language. So we temporarily switch to a language where the concept is easier or more prominent. For example, these days when it comes to, certain ingredients like butter, margarine, we tend to use the English word more than the Malay word because it's just easier. And when you go to the shop, they don't really use the word mentega that often. They'll say butter or, margarine, that kind of stuff. Some people like to say that, this is very harmful, this is very bad for the language, you are destroying the sacredness of the language. But that's not really the case. That word eventually becomes a part of the language or a part of the dialect. Although at times it can get annoying. For example, if you watch your local dramas, they can just say saya, awak, kamu, but all the time it's ayu, and then the rest of the drama, they're all in BM. So, is code switching really that bad? Well, not really, I would say. Some people will have different opinions on that, but it adds more variety and color, where we don't just code switch one language or code mix one language. We can combine words from multiple languages and yet we still understand each other. For example, let's say you go to your local mamak stall and you're really close to the owner. Say, hey, Matcha, I thought we kautim already. You have Matcha, which comes from all the Indian languages. You have kautim, which has its origin in the Chinese colloquial languages. So what? Chinese, Malay, Indian, English? I don't speak Tamil, I don't speak any of the Chinese languages, and yet we understand each other. And that's something very unique. Why can't we just celebrate our uniqueness like this? Of course, I do understand the concern among some people. Hey, what if the original word is forgotten? For example, we often say that, infrastruktur di Malaysia patut diperbaiki, when in fact, we have the original word prasarana. I would say that that's just the nature of words. Words die and words get borrowed, words get replaced. Any language in the world, it changes. Bahasa Melayu today is not the same like it was 50 years ago, where people say hatta sekalian. But it doesn't mean that the language is being damaged or anything. It just means that the language is changing and evolving. Likewise, English today, nobody says thou shall do this. That's so classical, that's so archaic, alright? It's not really a bad thing. Language just changes and people need to know that.